Всім привіт! Ми знаходимося на Lviv IT Arena, і поруч зі мною Патрік Ньюбері, Chief Digital Officer компанії Global. І я зараз попрошу Патріка оцінити дизайн українських проєктів хардверних, які зібрали найбільше коштів на краудфандинговій платформі Kickstarter. І перший проєкт – це SenseHome. Це такий аксесуар, який дозволяє вам надиктовувати і переводити ваш голос в текст.
We are building a first smart voice recording wearable. It's handy and allows you to capture your thoughts with a quick motion. Nothing to distract, so you can stay focused on what really matters to you.
Okay. If I'm thinking about it as a product manager, okay, what need am I solving for? So right now, if I have Siri, I can take it out, or if I have any other thing, I can basically speak to my phone and put it away. I have to remember to wear this. It has to be charged. It has to be connected. I have to make sure that it's not picking up ambient noise. So there's a range of things that have to happen that actually might not be any easier or better than doing this. So my question is, what is the value proposition that this gives me that I don't have today through a phone? And how much better is that, right? Now, one can say, well, you know what, yes, you could take your phone out of your pocket, but this means that you can be hand-free, you can be driving, you can be doing a lot of things. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Also, if we begin to think about, are there other situations when this begins to become very useful? So what other data does it capture? So for instance, if it captures GPS or it knows other things, then that data can be appended to my text. I don't have to geotag it, it happens automatically. So there's other value propositions that might be available. So I always think about in situations like this, when you go after, say, a fashion market, or when you say, I'm trying to make a product be something in addition to the core functionality, you have to ask yourself, is there enough value in doing that? And if we think that, well, maybe it's something that people will adapt to and catch on, we want to say what additional value helps make it more of a differentiated experience.
Okay, and what do you think about the design itself?
I think the design itself looks very nice. I mean, it looks like it is unisex. It's neutral enough to be worn with a range of different things. I like the fact that it can be a pendant, a clip, as well as a bracelet or a wrist wearable. One of the questions, though, is that this is only part of the product, right? Because this is part of the product.
Yes.
And so our total product experience is not just what this does,
yes,
what the application does, right? And then what is the support going to be like? One of the big problems with companies like these is that oftentimes their first generation of product is more of an MVP. And so the people that bought that don't have the full features of a later product, right? Or there's updates to this that might change the functionality of that. This is a key thing with hardware products nowadays, is that they're technically enabled. They become a service delivery platform, but they also can be defined by software. So what you buy today might not be what you wind up with a year from now. Because if the company decides to change some of the functionality or the way the software works, basically the hardware is now redefined by that change in software.
The next project is Hashmi.
So I'm assuming that this prevents the noise from going beyond...
Yes.
Okay. Very interesting. I mean, I think it's an interesting concept, but the benefit actually is more for the people around you than for you, unless you want to have a confidential conversation. But even then, it's not completely confidential because someone could still hear if they wanted to listen. Someone could still hack in and listen to the signal anyway. The interesting thing is that this actually now goes in front of my face as I'm talking, right? Now, if I'm talking just over a phone, that may not be a problem. But if I'm talking over Skype, all of a sudden my expressivity is now compromised. The person looking at me doesn't see my face, or doesn't see the full mouth. When we speak to people, it's not just the voice that we take in and understand, it's all kinds of micro gestures. So one of the interesting things will be to see how effective communication is through these kinds of devices.
The one more thing is UGears. It's also Ukrainian startup.
Very interesting. I mean, I think this kind of thing is very interesting because this actually, I think, is more of a platform play. Because essentially the laser cutting of wood, right, could be done in other mediums. So you could have a 3D printer that prints out pieces, or you could have a 3D laser cutter at home. But all of a sudden now, I could have a whole community and potentially, not industry, but business model around people creating and selling designs that other people can produce. So I think that, you know, we look at this and say, are these good products? They're interesting, but the overall business that's being created actually might be a lot more successful in a very different way. It's not the product itself, but the whole ecosystem around how you produce it, who designs it, how you create a market around that. Because now, I mean, we could have situations where it's not necessarily just a toy, but it's a functional device, right? That you can buy it, you can make it at home, assemble it.
And the next one is John Liluk.
I once showed my son how the classic photo camera works, through which we've seen the history of the past 200 years. Moments of life freeze on paper, become a picture, and stay with us forever. I thought then that the magic of photography for a long time was only a brilliant combination of optics and chemistry, and decided to make a simple camera out of available materials. I used cassettes for instant photos, recycled paper and cardboard, shutter, aperture, body, everything from paper. And I created what you will enjoy. A simple folding paper camera, always ready for instant photography.
The vintage instant camera that works on Instax mini film and is made from recycled cardboard.
I mean, I think products like these are interesting because they speak to a niche audience, right? Who likes who likes photography, who likes the physical camera, and likes that kind of older style of thing. One of the challenges I think we're facing is with any film-based camera or non-digital camera, there's a question of accessibility to the film, right? Because after a certain point in time, if I can't buy it, I can't use it. It becomes something that sits on the shelf. I also think that what we're seeing is a wholesale change in what photography is about, right? So we worked with a company that wanted to do voice UI for cameras so that people that didn't know how to really operate a camera could kind of be more intuitively guided to use all the features of the camera. Great, except if you look at the way people are doing pictures today, I'm snapping a picture with my phone, then on Instagram I'm applying the filters. So all of the customization that you might used to do with the camera is now being done after the fact. Now there's another camera that's just been released that allows you to change the depth of field after the picture's been taken. So as we change the nature of photography, the question will be, does a physical camera still do the same?